Hey everyone, what's going on? Greg here again from TM Blast. I want to talk about Apple Maps local SEO and why Yelp is so critical to improve your keyword ranks, which will get you more impressions, more website clicks, and more phone calls for your business. So to start, I have a client, they're in New York City, they're a doctor. So I searched in Apple Maps for the keyword gynecologist, and I'm using local Falcon to get this view. My client is 20 plus everywhere, which basically means they're not ranking at the top. Local Falcon uses DuckDuckGo for this, but this also translates directly into Apple Maps specific search. So they're not ranking at all for this keyword, which is gynecologist. Then I looked at the top couple listings that were ranking for the keyword gynecologist. So I clicked on each one and I could see how the map was basically all green or mostly green for them. What I've noticed for my clients, ones who are doing really well on Apple Maps, if you can rank for these non-brand keywords like gynecologist near me, gynecologist NYC, it's going to drive in more impressions, which will result in more website clicks and phone calls for your business. So I looked at the top three listings, and this is actually what I summarized. They all have a prominent Yelp listing that is displayed at the very top, and also the ratings and reviews in the bottom. So I can see reviews. Now, one thing to note is that it's not necessarily who has the most Yelp reviews or who has the best Yelp score. What I notice, even with Google, is that it's consistent reviews on an ongoing basis will be more beneficial for your ranking. So someone could have 145 reviews, but let's say 120 of them came from a year ago. And now this year in 2025, they've only had a handful compared to another company that's been getting consistent reviews all throughout 2025, might even have a slight ranking factor in their favor because they're getting consistent and up-to-date reviews. It's more relevant and it might be helping them rank a little bit better. But the point is that the top three that I saw all have Yelp that are showing. This is what I did next. I went into my client's account and I wanted to pull the main KPIs to really display how much of an opportunity we have here. Directions in the past 12 months is 438, websites 111, and phone calls is 190 out of 12 months. Next, I scrolled up a little bit and I looked at the number of searches that people do before they tap on the location in the search results. Basically, what that means is let's look at TM Blast as the example. The brand name for TM Blast means absolutely nothing, but that would come up as a brand or name search. The category search for me would be like marketing agency, SEO, local SEO, etc. Notice that for my client, less than 20% of the time when people search for, they're using a non-brand keyword, which is why when you look at this over here, they have so little KPIs each month. Direction requests on average is 37. We can assume most of this is coming from current clients that they have who are just using Apple just to click on directions just to get to their location. Website visits is 9 for the month. That's very small. Calls is 16. Again, that's very small. That's basically one every other day. And then 41 name searches. So that's the brand name like TM Blast. And then 10 searches are the non-brand part. There's that huge difference right there. So the reason why I'm recording this is that when you're thinking about ways to grow your local business, get more phone calls, get more leads, get more bookings, whatever the goal is, first step is you want to get on Yelp and fill out your basic information. I know there's a lot when it comes to Yelp. I hear this from every client of mine. There's a love-hate relationship with this platform, and I get it. However, I look at it and say this goes beyond Yelp.com. If Apple is pulling in Yelp for their reviews, you have to get on that platform. Next is you want to encourage users to leave reviews on Yelp. So we all know Google reviews, 90% of the leads are going to come from Google Maps, but you really want to focus on encouraging a diversity of reviews on different platforms like Facebook, TripAdvisor, Yelp, TrustIndex.io, etc. Get reviews, but specifically for this, encourage people to start leaving reviews on Yelp, and then you can respond to them as well. Next, upload photos to Yelp. So the reason why I share this is that Apple will actually pull in your profile and they'll actually bring in the photos that are on the platform. So photos of your location, of your team, of the service you provide, these are all going to be engagement factors, and they're also being brought into by Apple Maps. So that's going to be a ranking factor. Next, track the results using Local Falcon. So I use it for all my clients. I track the keywords usually on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. I'm just trying to get an idea of if the changes we make are improving our share of local voice, which then have more phone calls, website clicks, and leads. And then finally, the track the people search category, I think is actually a really important KPI. So I'm going to go back to this. If in the last 12 months, I can say, okay, we have 124, so divided by 12, that's around 10 or so people each month are searching for a non-brand keyword. I would look at that and say, that's the baseline because we're not really ranking. If we can increase that from 10 to 100, so all of a sudden now we know we're getting from more and more people now finding us for non-brand, search terms. Then these other metrics over here are going to naturally increase: phone calls, website clicks, people clicking on photos, and even directions too. If you can see that increase that happens based off the non-brand searches are improving because your ranks are improving, it kind of all goes together. So really, in summary, I'm creating this video just because I look at a lot of local accounts that I have. The ones that are doing the best on Yelp obviously have photos, they have a description, they have all the filters, they're responding to reviews on, on Yelp. But the ones that are really struggling, in my opinion, are the ones that are not on Yelp. So we can do all the other hacks we can do with, description, the filters, the photos, the showcases. But if you're consistently not growing on Apple and your top competition is on Yelp and they seem to be always outranking you for your terms, you may want to invest this month or two on Yelp, maybe run some Yelp ads as well, and see what that can do for your rankings for Apple. You can track the results and then ultimately see to drive more website clicks, bookings, services, phone calls back to your business. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and as always, have a good rest of your day.